Good evening and welcome to the Fort Smith City Board of Directors meeting on this January 20th of 2026. Keep in mind these meetings are being televised live for the benefit of our residents who can't be here with us in person. So with that, I'm going to ask Director Kemp to lead the invocation, and Director Rigo, if you would, lead us in the pledge.
Would you join me in prayer? Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight. Lord, we thank you for the many blessings you have given to us. And Lord, as we come together tonight to take care of this business of our city, I'm reminded of when you taught us how to pray. When you said, may we pray that your will be done here on earth as it is in heaven. And we do pray that over our city, Lord. We pray for the peace and the prosperity of our community, the safety of our community, and the many things that you've given to us, Lord. May we not take them for granted. May we have compassion and care for one another. And may we understand, Lord, we are better when we come together, Lord. Thank you for what you're doing, how you're prospering us. May we be mindful in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. This time we'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Directors Rigo.
Here.
Good.
Here.
Kemp.
Here.
George Katsavas.
Here.
Christina Katsavas. Here. Settle.
Here.
Martin.
Here.
Okay. Thank you very much. This time I'll ask if there's any presentation by a member of the board of any item of business not already on the agenda. Okay. Seeing none, we'll ask for approval of the January 6, 2026 regular meeting.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you. As a reminder from the clerk, a motion and a second is always to adopt the following items, and they must be offered before director comments are made. Public comments on items must pertain to the presented item. With that, we will go to the first item on the agenda.
Thank you, Mayor. The first item this evening is an ordinance adopting the 2021 edition of the International Property Maintenance Code. Mr. Sean Gard, Director of Neighborhood Services, will speak to this item and answer questions from the board.
Good evening, Mayor, Board, and Administration. Before you this evening, you have an ordinance for the City of Fort Smith Neighborhood Services Department to move from the 2018 International Property Maintenance Code to adopt the 2021 code from the International Code Council to be more in alignment with our Building and Safety Department, who adopted International Residential Building Code 2021, I believe just maybe a year and a half ago. Within your memo there are a couple changes that I outlined, differences between the 2018 and 2021. I contacted the International Code Council and got a red line version of the 2021 and done a chapter-by-chapter comparison between the 2018 and 2021. Most of the changes that I've noted in there are not in the body of the International Property Maintenance Code, but they're in the administration parts on delivering of certified mail, and some within the fire code. One of the significant changes is within the fire prevention portion of the International Property Maintenance Code. It outlines mainly in the 2018 version or edition, mainly just stressing on fire safety. The 2021 alludes to more of life safety. One of the big changes is on the portable heaters that folks will buy. I understand people got to stay warm, but they are probably one of the biggest fire hazards that we see during this time of year. But it makes it where no more than 2 portable space heaters are utilized at one time, and they cannot be the main source of heat for a property. They have to have an approved heating system in there, which is a safety factor. But after reviewing it, I didn't see any really significant changes that's going to impact the residents of the citizens of Fort Smith, other than some of the safety things that are being included into the newer edition of the 2021. And I'm happy to entertain any questions on this one at this time.
Okay. Thank you, Sean. Madam Clerk, are there any citizens' comments on this item?
Just one. Joe Elskin.
Okay.
So I'm for safety, and I just have some, when I looked at it, I thought, since it's copyrighted, it's not available to people. And since we're always complaining about people not following code, I just wanted to know how people can get the updated. And what triggered me is the fact that there are so many people who are not able to provide, they can't afford electricity. They cannot afford heating. And a space heater is probably, yeah. I understand that my dad was a fire protection engineer. Okay, I get it. But I just wondered how people can know what the code says and try to figure out how to navigate that in safety and yet affordable.
That's a good question. Very good question. Per the ordinances, there's 3 copies of the 2021 International Property Maintenance Code on file with the city clerk's office right now. We're looking at, before too long, hopefully to get that, if anybody wants to review the code, they can go to the International Code Council, ICC website, and I will get with Josh to maybe get that uploaded onto our city's website so people will have a link that they can go and view the 2021, just like we've done with the 2018. So we'll work to get that available once and if adopted. Okay.
Okay, thank you. At this time, we'll entertain a motion to adopt the ordinance with suspension of the rule.
So moved with suspension rules.
Second.
Second. Madam Clerk, please read the ordinance.
An ordinance amending Section 6-401 of the Fort Smith Municipal Code for the purpose of adoption of the 2021 edition of the International Property Maintenance Code.
This time, we'll take comments from the board. Director Kemp.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Guard, I guess my question is, the spirit of this change that's being proposed came because we looked at an international ordinance. Were there fires that were turned in, reported, related to this?
One thing is we operating under the 2018 edition, Director Kemp, is we try to stay, Neighborhood Services tries to stay in alignment with the Building and Safety Department. And if they're operating under one edition of the codes and we're operating out of an older edition, sometimes the fire codes in one section won't line up with the other one. So we're trying to stay in alignment with the other department. So when our inspectors go out, property maintenance inspector, we're addressing a fire structure or dilapidated structure. We want to make sure what codes we're addressing or the alignment with the Building and Safety Department. So we're just trying to stay current, both departments together. And some of the things in reviewing the 2021 with some of the verbiage when it comes to fire safety and emergency egress, the 2021 definitely explains it, the safety issues much better than the 2018 edition does.
Can I ask a question? I'm thinking of a particular person I know that I've helped before, that their house heat went out. And then we stepped in and helped them with some heaters, that were bought at Lowe's that are nice. They have stands and thermostats on them. And that helped them get by. Are we saying that if they can't do that anymore?
No, not at all, Director.
Okay.
We understand that sometimes people have financial hardship. Sometimes you're in the middle of the winter and you have your heat and air go out.
Yeah.
And we definitely don't want nobody getting cold or freezing in the wintertime. The thing is we would ask if you're going to have to use a portable space heater to take the safety precautions, and there will be some gov delivery media notifications going out because of the extreme cold weather that's coming in to explain how to be safe with space heaters. But we would ask that as soon as possible or financially possible that they get their heat source, their main heat source repaired. But we will certainly work with people.
So would Ms. Kabuchi's team that deals with some of the money that can help people in certain situations that may qualify, would any of those dollars ever be available? And maybe that's not a question for you, but would any of those ever be available to help someone on the tough times? I know we fix like leaky roofs. Would that ever apply in a situation related to this?
I know emergency situations can be applied through the CDBG, but Deputy City Administrator Maggie might be able to respond to that better.
Yes, HVAC should qualify as long as the home qualifies. So you have to be owner occupied. You can't be in a flood zone. There are certain requirements that you have to meet, but that is an option.
Okay,
And
thank-
Sean's group's really good about referring customers to Candace's department.
Yeah, I just want to thank you for that. I just wanted to clarify, because people are trying to do what they got to do to get by. I don't want
absolutely.
to create something where we
Absolutely.
are not even a partner for them, or now creating more problems upon problems. Thank you.
Okay.
And we're, in our department, if folks have a question, and hopefully there's people watching live here at home, and if they have a concern about whether they're operating safety with a portable space heater or something like that, they can contact our department. We've been more than happy to send somebody out there, give them direction, give them some pamphlets or information to make sure that they're keeping their home safe for them and their family.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for Sean? Okay. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Directors Rego,
Yes.
Good,
Yes.
Kemp,
Yes.
George Katsavas, Christina Katsavas.
Yes.
Settle.
Yes.
Martin.
No.
It's approved, 7 in favor and 6 in favor, 1 opposed.
Okay. Item number 2.
Item 2 is an ordinance ordering the demolition of 4 dilapidated and dangerous structures in the city. Mr. Guard?
Before you this evening, we have 4 structures that we've had open cases on for quite some time. Locations of 3222 Blair, 3925 Rowe, 1108 North 9th Street, and 510 North K Street. The Blair structure in the memorandum that you received in your board packet, this has been a structure that's been open since 2011. And it's been boarded up. We've been abating this property for quite some time, exhausted. Probably the first question that comes to mind is why so long? And so these are one of these structures that was boarded up, and per the International Property Maintenance Code, structures are allowed to be boarded up for 1 year. After 1 year, they either have to pull a permit and return the structure back to a viable structure, or the city or the jurisdiction can move forward with raising action. This one right here, we have dealt with it. We have reached out. We've done legal searches, and we've exhausted every means possible. And we've had a criminal summons waiting for quite some time to be served. And we've done this multiple times. But this is one, I don't want to say it slipped through the cracks, but we are doing our best right now. Some of these older ones that Director Martin, I know that you brought up to us before, the ones that have been hanging out there for quite some time. We're trying to move forward as quickly as possible this year to get all these older ones taken care of and resolved, and where the properties, hopefully somebody will buy the property and want to do something with it. It's in a good location off of Blair Avenue there. 3925 Rowe has been vacant for quite some time, no owner cooperation. Partial of it's burned, most of it's collapsed already. This one has not been open that long, but because of the due to the serious damage and collapsing of the structure, it's a hazard to a neighborhood if anybody was to wander up onto the property. And the 1108 North Street had fire damage to it. There's over $3,000 in liens on that one. And the one at 510 North K has been boarded up for a couple of years now. It's time to get something done on that one as well.
Okay, thank you. Are there any citizens' comments on this item, ma'am?
None indicated.
Okay. Entertain a motion to adopt the ordinance with suspension of the rules.
So moved with suspension of the rules.
Second.
Thank you. Please read the ordinance.
An ordinance ordering the owners of certain dilapidated and substandard structures to demolish same, authorizing the city administrator to cause the demolition of such structures to occur and for other purposes. And this is for structures located at 3222 Blair Avenue, 3925 Rowe Avenue, 1108 North 9th Street, and 510 South K Street.
Okay, thank you. Are there any board comments? Director Good.
Thank you, Mayor. Just have a question for Ms. Guard. Sherry, on this, when the structures on the house, on the properties are demolished, and I'm asking Sherry because I talked to you about this property before, does it then go to the Commissioner of State Lands?
No.
The land?
No, not automatically.
Okay.
What happens is if the city demolishes that structure, we will place a lien on that property, and it will go through the same process as all other property cleanup liens. We will seek reimbursement for that. If they do not reimburse that, if that invoice for reimbursement of the demolition, if it is 90 days delinquent as of June 30 of next year, then it will be included in the process to certify to the county for certification for collection with a 10% penalty assessed. Then if that is not paid through the county, then the county, it could be forfeited to the Commissioner of State Lands.
Okay, long process. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, if not, please call the roll.
Directors Good,
Yes.
Kemp,
Yes.
George Katsavas.
Yes.
Christina Katsavas.
Yes.
Settle,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Rigo.
Yes.
It's approved, 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
This time we'll entertain a motion to adopt the emergency clause.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Please call the roll.
Directors Kemp,
Yes.
George Katsavas.
Yes.
Christina Katsavas.
Yes.
Settle,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Rigo.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Motion passes, 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
Okay, thank you. We'll go to item number 3.
Before, I would just like to thank the board, administration, and mayor's office for the support for me and my department. We truly appreciate it, and we're looking for a good year this year. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Good.
Yeah, Sean, before you step away, just want to commend you and your management over your department. It's producing a lot of happy folks, particularly in my ward. So just wanted to say thank you for all you do and thank your guys.
I sure will. We finally got fully staffed, and they'll be starting in 2 weeks.
Yes, sir.
So thank you so much.
All right.
Okay, thank you. With that, we'll go to item number 3.
Items 3A and 3B both relate to the construction of water slides at Parrot Island Waterpark. Item 3A is an ordinance authorizing the appropriation of $1,274,935 from the general fund reserve for this one-time capital improvement, as authorized by the city's fiscal policies related to fund reserves. The 2026 budget projects a year-end fund balance of 34% in the general fund reserve. Making this appropriation reduces that estimate to 31%, still well above the city's fiscal policy for reserve funds and capital spending. Item 3B, which has been revised, and a hard copy is at your place to the board. Item 3B is an ordinance authorizing 2 construction contracts with Royal Ridge Construction for installation of water slides and pump house components at Parrot Island Waterpark. The contract for water slide components amounts to $1,059,934.12, and the alternate contract for pump house components amounts to $680,000 for a total of $1,739,934.12. The city took sealed bids for installation of the water slides in October 2025. We received 2 bids, the lowest being $2,828,810, which had exclusions that would not have delivered a complete project. The higher bid of $3,134,000 had no such exclusions, but is also well above the funds available for this part of the project. Since that time, we have worked with the local contractor to evaluate the specifications and identify ways to reduce cost of the water slide infrastructure. Royal Ridge Construction has produced a proposal of the $1,059,934.12 to install plumbing, fittings, and concrete foundations to allow the slides to be erected and put in place. An alternate number includes installation of the pump house facility and complete electrical package for an additional $680,000. Together, the proposal totals $1,739,934.12. These are the contracts presented for approval this evening, and they do not include the pool equipment, pumps, and piping required for completion. This work is being priced by another local contractor right now and is expected to be close to our $600,000 estimate. With site amenities, fencing, sidewalks, landscaping, and the estimated total cost of this project is $2,689,935. Funds for this project will come from the $655,000 that remains from the original $4.2 million project budget, $760,000 from the interest earnings on the park's sales and use tax proceeds, and the $1,274,935 appropriation that is the subject of item 3A this evening. Staff proposes this path forward to accomplish the board's decision to do this water slide expansion project. With that introduction, I'll turn the discussion to the board.
Okay, thank you very much. Madam Clerk, this time we'll go to citizens' comments.
Okay. We did have 10 individuals to sign in to speak, the first being Kim Fodge, and each will have 2 minutes.
Okay. Because of the number of comments, please hold to the 2 minutes, and we'd appreciate that. Thanks.
Okay.
Good to see you, Kim.
Good to see you. According to the October 31, 2025 balance sheet, Parrot Island has limited liquid funds and are unable to meet their financial obligations. Most of their assets are in CIPs. I did a quick ratio on the balance sheets for the last 2 years. A quick ratio is a measure of a company's ability to pay their bills with their most liquid assets. The fiscal year 2024 balance sheet showed a ratio of 0.94. The 10/31/2025 balance sheet showed a ratio of 0.22. Anything less than 1 indicates a liquidity issue, suggesting liquidating inventory and assets or new loans are needed to pay debt. In short, Parrot Island can't pay their bills, and the taxpayers are having to bail them out. Due to ongoing maintenance issues with an aging infrastructure, installing additional slides will not remedy the issue and will only make it worse with additional operational and maintenance costs. The proposed budget for 2026 indicates that there will not be a substantial increase in revenue versus expenses with the additional slides. Before any decision is made on the slide installation, we need to get a complete picture of what's going on at Parrot Island, and an audit needs to be completed. Spending additional monies before then is egregious, and anyone who votes to do so is not being a good steward of taxpayer monies. Thank you.
Next, we have Eric Weidman.
Good evening, everyone. A little background that shows my commitment to the community. And between 1996 and 1997, Smithsonian Art Train toured Fort Smith, Arkansas. I was involved in bringing that here to town. In 2003, the National Historic Site, Fort Smith Railroad, would not make the Trail of Tears handicap accessible. I fought for that. There was a whole page newspaper article on it, which forced Fort Smith Railroad to comply and make it ADA compliant for handicapped individuals to access the Trail of Tears. I acquired over 2,000 signatures on a petition. In 1996, I organized the planting of 165 crepe myrtles on Phoenix Avenue across from the new VA clinic. The Fort Smith Rotary Club paid for the trees. About 3 years ago, I talked to Mayor McGill about maintaining the trees. He passed me off to David S. Roberts. This went on for a year. I got nowhere. I went to ARDOT to ask them to apply pressure on the city. The next thing I knew, the trees were being dug up. My friends were calling me and telling me the trees were being dug. I contacted Neil Martin. He told me ARDOT made them do it. I do not think that it's good stewardship or an enhancement on something that was meant for the city to be there when things progressed on Phoenix Avenue. Currently, I had a discussion with City Director Kemp. I asked him what marketing or promotion plans there are for making the water park successful. Apparently, there are none. He said that was what we tasked the management company with.
Thank you. 2 minutes is up, sir. Thank you very much.
Next, we have Chris Cadelli.
Good evening. I'm going to run through this since we've got 2 minutes. As a member in good standing of the group labeled as Poisonous Rot by Director Rigo on social media for speaking against reckless spending and misplaced priorities, I oppose this ordinance. We haven't even made it through January, and we're already talking about more reckless spending that will likely threaten the health of the general fund and represent a slap to the face of vital city employees being asked to do more with less. Even more egregious still is the affront this represents to the taxpayer. You had a nice water park getting by with modest subsidies relative to some of the other entities we subsidize in this town. But that wasn't good enough for Directors Settle, Rigo, and Good. So you opened yourselves and thereby the Fort Smith citizens to a scam by former City Administrator Gefkin. This whole slide addition is built on a foundation of lies and incomplete information. With regard to the no bid, I oppose that as well. This ordinance is based on a laundry list of concerns. This opposition to this ordinance is based on a laundry list of concerns, including but not limited to the following: transparency. There has never been a complete audit of the water park, and documents shared from a recent FOIA indicate a host of operational and infrastructure issues. We must have a complete audit before making any further investments in that water park. The no-bid contract offer after other contractors went through the standard bidding process appears completely antithetical to the competitive bidding process. I do not understand how a sitting board director can participate in the recruitment of a certain contractor, consult with the contractor during the bid process, then vote on the ordinance for approval. This appears to me to be a conflict of interest, and I most certainly ask Director Kemp to recuse himself from tonight's vote. Thank you.
Next, we have Crystal Cadelli. Crystal Cadelli.
Good evening. So I recently obtained a FOIA request with hundreds of documents. Reading through those documents, I found several concerning issues regarding Parrot Island. Their infrastructure and finances were very concerning to me, being unpaid invoices, delayed payments, difficulties making payroll, and late payments to the City of Fort Smith Water Department. Between 24 and 25, the park incurred costs of at least $836,000 for repairs on pumps, leaks, and surge protectors. I think the addition of this slide and the aging infrastructure will only create additional maintenance expenses. This is very concerning since the park already operates in the red. If we cannot make payroll and we can't pay the main resource that the park needs to operate, which is water, then we definitely do not need to be adding to that infrastructure. I also found it interesting that while citizens are struggling with unaffordable water bills, Parrot Island's bills from July 2024 to October of 2025 averaged to be about $40.96. Inquiring with the city water department about the unusually low bills, I was informed about the water meter had stopped working in the fall of 2025 and was replaced in October of 2025, although the low bills started the summer of 24. My estimated loss is over $40,000 of revenue to our water department. I find it very dangerous to award a contractor a job that they do not have any aquatics experience.
Thank you very much.
And also no competitive bidding process.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next, we have Jerry Donaldson. Jerry Donaldson.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing us to speak. And my concern is safety, the kids. And I've heard a lot of discussion on the finances. That's an adult thing. But the kids and the safety of the kids is my #1 concern. Water slide accidents are pretty severe. And a lot of them, I haven't heard any discussion over the weeks that I've listened to these meetings. I haven't heard any discussion on safety. And from what I understand, there's 2 vertical falls in the different slides. And one of those falls looks like it's open on the top. And there are plenty of issues that you can see online with severe accidents that have happened at water parks in this country and throughout the world. And like, I won't mention the detail of the severity. But the thing that kind of clicked me, said, okay, pay attention to this. We got such a great deal. It was sold to the city as a great deal financially. We get it at a great discount. But that kind of makes you question why. And this is what, the last one that's going to be made in the United States? Another question. You know. So is there, you don't have to answer this question, but I think it's one you should discuss, is what review have you seen from a safety engineer of the design of the different tubes? Lastly, there are the vertical falls I mentioned. I think there should be naming rights for this park and the slide complex. And I'm going to put my 2 cents worth in for, it's got to be a water theme, right? So, consistent with that, it's going to rhyme with sea breeze, but CG's folly. CG's folly. Thank you.
Next, we have Dan Williams. Dan Williams.
Good evening, Board. Again, I'm part of the proud members of the Poisonous Rot, and so it's great to be here, and thank you for giving us a label now we can operate from. There were only 4 companies in the nation that could put these up. Did you know that? That was what I heard at this meeting. 4 companies in the nation, it's specialty thing. Well, I'm pretty sure this company's not one of them. And so you can go back and watch the video and see. There was a recall after we got the slides that we found out, and we got a $150,000 discount on the slides, I believe, because there was a recall on part of the slides, or there was some kind of something. But we just decided to go ahead and take them. I'm not for it. I'm for our park. I actually am a proud member of the park. The last 2 years, family ticket holder, and I do enjoy it. But I was very disturbed when Mr. Settle and Mr. Mr. Good turned it into a party park. We're going to sell alcohol, and we're going to make it this, and we're going to make it that. And the one thing that we have for the kids that should be a prize and that we should honor for our youth, and that, you know, we could spend a little bit of money on instead of $1 million on the convention center every year, we're going to turn it into a party center, and I'm definitely not for that. So I think you need to get something worked out with the county and decide. I think there needs to be a full audit, and I think because this park isn't self-supporting, some of y'all should start chipping in some money and paying for the cost. So thank you.
Next, we have Joey McCutcheon. Joey McCutcheon.
Thank you, Joey McCutcheon, Fort Smith. As I've said numerous times, and tonight, this is only one of numerous items where this city continues to spend money like a drunken sailor. And it's really sad. And Director Settle, I think you need to answer this question tonight, because you're the one who meets with Jeff Dingman on this, because this is your baby. Is this board or you or the administration incompetent, or are you just lying to us? This bid doesn't go from $4.2 million to $6.2 million without somebody either lying to somebody to get something passed or being incompetent. And that's really sad. You know, the ink hadn't dried on that operating budget until you were already changing it. And that is really, really sad and concerning, particularly since we're in a budget crisis where we're cutting public safety to build a park. You can split hairs if you want to, Director Rigo, about where the money's coming, but it's coming out of my back pocket and it's coming out of every one of these folks' back pocket. And that's not right. And then, you know, and we don't even know what the further estimates are right now. I mean, we have all these add-ons. The scope of this project has been materially changed. That's another example of lack of transparency. You know, Director Kemp, you've been out cutting deals with a local contractor who has no experience in this matter. And that's not right. We've been hoodwinked in this town. At this point, we cannot trust this board. And tonight, you can make it right on numerous ways. But when there's lack of trust, there's problems, and there will be problems in this city if this lack of transparency and lack of trust continues. Thank you.
Next, we have Ken Lyon. Ken Lyon.
Hi, Ken Lyon, a longtime resident of the River Valley. Honestly, I'd hoped to come up and meet and introduce myself with a basket full of carrots. Unfortunately, all I have is a bundle of sticks. So I'm trying to find the ROI in the water slide in where a measuring contest against Alma in which we compete over 3 slides instead of 5 pulls in more people to Fort Smith instead of Alma for a few months out of the year, while the rest of the year the tourism sits dead on the entertainment district, while Laura's social club sits with its budget in half instead of increasing the budget, which should be the gateway to the actual entertainment district, which y'all put so much work into building and now are spending money to build something on the other side of practically another town instead of finishing the job to build out the downtown entertainment district. It doesn't make sense. The ROI is clearly on the actual other side of town. What are we doing with a bunch of assets rotting in a field, festering rot, was it, in a field that's going to clearly turn into an insurance claim instead of an actual convert from the contract to any real investment value for anybody? Somebody's making money, and nobody that's actually making money lives in Fort Smith. But let's actually cut to the real deal. That helped Casey. He let me be his agent to review the FOIA documents. And everybody else is looking what's in the documents. I always like to look at what's not in the documents, because what was interesting is of the 1,269 individual files you have to manually click on, which goes slower than an old school fax machine. It takes work to make a portal go that slow these days. The one of the 270 that worked, the one file that didn't work out of all of those was, quote, let's see, email Parrot Island Raymaker proposal for engineering services.message. That's the one file that wasn't actually in the FOIA documents that have been provided so far. So officially, you're now notified that we haven't actually been given the information we legally requested, and you can't make decisions without us having that first to inform that. So we still need info, legally speaking. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Next, we have Shane McKinney.
And people call me a bloodsucker. Man, you guys are pros. Like, people act like you can't elect a vampire in this town. Weird, right? Anyway, so there's a sunken cost fallacy. I teach people about investing online. We sometimes get to, let's say we started a gold mine in the city of Fort Smith, and we decided there's gold in Ben Guerin Park, and we're going to start digging a hole. And after a couple of years, we haven't found any gold, but we're $3 million, $4 million into that hole. We got to keep digging, right? That's what we should keep doing. Eventually, we're going to find gold. You guys have gotten in over your head on a money pit. I've seen that movie. I'm old enough. And now you guys are afraid to walk away because of the black eye you're going to get. But at some point, you can walk away. You can sell all these water slides. You'll probably get a lot less shit from everybody in here. Can I say shit here? Oh, well, I did. You're going to get a lot less trouble from other people here if you can correct some of these things. Take the money and spend it on something that's actually useful. Maybe encouraging some business development downtown. Maybe focus down here by the river. Everybody wants people to go to the Marshall's Museum, but I can tell you my guests are always happier to go to Miss Laura's. You guys are focusing on the wrong things. You're focusing on these things where other people are doing it. It's a big mistake. I used to do web development, and when somebody would come in and show me a website of a competitor's and say, I want it to look just like this. That's not how you win. If you want to win competing with other cities, we have to do things different. Miss Laura's is different. Why in the world do we not focus on that? That's one of only a few things, like 8 in the country, I think. Why would we compete against every small town's water park all across the place when we have special things like that that we could use? It's very clear you guys don't understand what makes our city great, or else this wouldn't be a discussion we're having today.
Next, we have Casey Millspaw.
How y'all doing, board? Casey Millspaw here. Been on the Parks Commission for 5 years. I was the chairman, so I'm real involved with the city, and I know our community real in depth. I got to say, thanks to the Parrot Island protesters for coming to the show tonight. So thanks. Yeah, it's a good, healthy thing that everybody's showing up like that. You know, some of you don't seem to want to pay attention to it, but it's important, and you should, because these people are serious about this, and it's our money that you guys are throwing away. That's $3 million. A lot of people are really concerned about the decisions that you're making. So I'm just going to say that, and then I'm going to say, Mr. McGill, I hope you can veto this. It's important. Give us some more time to work on this and make this better and make a better decision. Thanks.
And last, we have Victoria Harris Hardy.
Board and everybody in this room, I came here tonight with an open mind, and the more I've listened to everybody, the madder I got. As a retired law enforcement officer of 28 years, I was here the other night when y'all voted to axe cops and firefighters for the sake of a water park. And with all due respect to everybody, nobody in this room seems to care that cops and firefighters are paying for this. That's a tax every one of us votes for every year to pay for extra security and fire that nobody seems that upset about. If y'all go forward with this, you spit on every injured officer that protects not just us, but your homes, your businesses, the tax base, all the tourism. You spit on them. You spit on every officer that has laid their lives down for this city and county, every firefighter. And as a retired officer, I can come up here now with no fear of reprimand from a city council member or a quorum court member going to my boss who doesn't have a choice because they're damned if they do and damned if they don't. If they don't ask us, the ones who make this possible, taxpayer funded and voted for, y'all are forgetting it. Go out to the cemeteries. Go out. Y'all show up for our funerals. You make statements when we're hurt and we can't work. Y'all go forward. You vote yourself raises, more insurance. We don't get that. And a whole community is being sold out. How many more cops? How many more firefighters are y'all going to sacrifice?
Okay, thank you
that comes
much.
from a voter, part of the rots, part of the deplorables, but I'm here, and I'm the only one that seems to care about who y'all are selling out.
Okay, thank you very much.
That's all.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. This time we'll entertain a motion to adopt the items 3A and 3B as revised.
So moved as revised.
Second.
Okay. This time we will go to director's comments. Director Christina Casavage, you recognize.
Jeff, where are we with the audit?
The internal auditor and the finance department director have circulated the agreed upon procedures and are compiling those to forward to the external auditor to give a time frame and estimated cost of performing that procedure.
What's the timeline on that?
The timeline on that depends on how responses have been received. I don't know what the status of that is as of today. And Ms. Strange may be able to answer that.
While she's coming up here, the gentleman earlier mentioned a review from a safety engineer. Have we received a review?
A review from a safety engineer regarding
The safety of the slides?
the slides that are on the ground. They've been designed by a water park designer, and so there's I don't know what we don't have a further review at this point now.
The agreed upon procedures that we discussed last week, we're ready to give those to the external auditors to get that estimate of their timing and the cost for those.
When do you need them by? Should we throw a date out there that any feedback that we have give to you by what date?
In the email that I had sent last week,
Yeah.
the deadline was Friday.
This Friday.
This previous Friday.
Okay.
So right now we're set to bring this to the study session next week.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we have some sort of legal recourse with these slides, because ARM is a professional business. They should have known very accurately what the cost to install these slides should be. Presumably they've installed them in other parks, and I think they should buy us out of the slides. We were relying on their expertise, and I feel like they knowingly made statements and omitted material facts. And I would go back and reference, sorry, I've got several pages of notes here. I would go back and reference the meeting from August 20th of 2024. You can go back and watch it at the 20-minute, 55-second mark. Director Neil Martin says, "Let me make sure I've got it right. It's still 4.2. Carl Gefkin responds, "Yeah, absolutely." I respond, "I don't think that's allowing enough for installation. I don't think 1.4 million is going to be enough." Director Levon Morton, "That seems high to me." Gefkin, "That's the cost that was quoted by the management company that was handling the project. The total cost is 4.2 million. And then we go to the September 3rd, 2024 meeting, where Drew from Parrot Island, Director Morton says, "These things aren't going to be laying on the ground. I've not had good experience with that in the past." Drew says they would be on pallets in the container itself. Director Morton, "Will we get the containers too?" Drew, "As of right now, with the shipping, we will keep the containers." Then Director Morton asks for clarity. Drew says, "Whitewater owns the containers. They will let us keep the containers." That also didn't happen. So I think we should force them to buy us out of the slides. When I think about what this money could buy, and I know it's been said this can't go to police or fire, and maybe it's not for ongoing operations, but it could go for one-time capital expenses for the police and fire. A fully outfitted Dodge Durango costs about $80,000. A pumper truck costs $1.2 million. A mid-mount ladder truck costs $2.3 million, and these are all approximate. This is about what they're going for in today's market. I mean, for this money, we could have done our retention pond out at Acme and bought 10 police cars. We could have done 1 ladder truck, 3 pumpers, and 12 police cars. We could have spent this money on sidewalks. We're talking a lot about children. We could have spent this money on sidewalks to get them safely to school. we talk about our kids. I think our duty is to protect their financial future and invest in infrastructure that'll be here long after the slides are gone. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Rego, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to share a couple of facts up front about police and fire spending and appropriations. Last year, we approved the highest ever budget we've ever approved in the history of the Fort Smith Police Department for the police department. The budget this year is a top 5, and this year for the fire department, we approved the highest ever budget for the fire department. So I'm glad that the poisonous rot was brought up, because I think it's important to read my entire quote from the Post on Friday the 16th. Quote, "I would say if you care about our community, please don't continue to participate in a never-ending spiral of negativity. The more a poisonous rot is allowed to fester around this subject, the harder it will be for us to prosper, grow, and succeed in all the ways that we can when we work together. Here are some examples of the poisonous rot that has festered around this subject. For voting in the majority to support this investment in a new amenity for a water park that was approved by 64% of the voters at an election in 2012, I have been called the following on social media in the last week: tyrannical, treacherous, a pompous POS, shameful, an ass who gets grift from Parrot Island, not fit for the position I'm in, a corrupt, sneaky liar, a moron, delusional, a child throwing a temper tantrum, a foolish, an idiot, a prick, a circus clown liberal, an incompetent idiot who steals public funds, underhanded, a crook, a snake. Apparently I make someone's skin crawl and I should be tarred and feathered. And we wonder why opportunities pass us by, or why more people don't run for office, and why senior leadership positions take a long time to fill." Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other comments from the board? Director Kemp.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate the comments tonight that people have shared. I've tried to do my best to listen to things, and I think it would be helpful for me to respond to a little bit of the timeline and where we find ourselves here. One, at the top of the year, in fiscal 25, I made a comment that I still stand with, that the county, our partners, see parts laying in the yard, and if we don't put this together, then we're not even being good partners in this. And I think there's a cost of standing still. There's a cost of money. I did make contact with both unions over the weekend and talking to them. And when I think about that, because as that entered the conversation, I definitely was like, you know what, there's something I'm not hearing. But as I've dove into it and listened to them, I still haven't heard anything to why we can't do both. This is what I've communicated to them, that I'm more than happy to sit down and talk to them and to listen to them and help us understand what they want us to understand, and then help me to understand them better, but also explaining some of the things that are there. I mean, the dollars above 25% per the city policy are spent on one-time, non-reoccurring items. There's property that's been, as I put a motion in when I first came into office, selling excess property. And where I'm at, it was like, there's no way I can vote for the 2 bids that came back from the RFP. One, the low bid excluded a pump house. The upper bid that had it all was too much. And I began to think about this, and I tried to talk to local contractors. Nobody wanted to do anything about it. And I said, okay, nobody wants to touch this. It's a hot button issue. I get it. And then I hear in passing that some media people from Royal Ridge reached out to Director Martin. And I said, well, I know one of those partners. I will reach out. I haven't talked to him in a long time. And I said, hey, is there any chance, and I've already asked other local contractors, is there any chance you guys would look at this? And he says, well, it's interesting you say that. We were the sub on one of the bids. And I was like, well, would you be willing to look at this with staff to figure out if there's any value engineering at all that could be done here to get slides built so that our partners, the county, don't have these parts laying on the ground. That led into a conversation of how we could stand these slides up in the air. As I made that known in public here in this meeting, the sentiment I hear and heard was, well, that's not going to work. We've got to build these or people are going to be upset. So I said, hey, let's explore this further. How do we do, not just build them in the air, how do we complete the whole project? Can you guys work with staff to get that going? From there, the no bid process that's been mentioned here, we went back and asked Clarity Pools, the high bidder, to reissue a bid, and they did. And this will all come out. There's a FOIA out there, and I'm sure that people will want to know this information. You do need to know it. As they came back, they were still high, and it did not include the flat work and the other things that are going to be required by health code to get this done. So then we said, well, is there any other local contractors that would look at this? And we made contact with Burton Pools and Spas. They said they would be willing to do it. I said, would you get with staff to figure out if there is any way to try to do this? So they've been working on that with staff. These companies, that is a company that's a premier company in town. They do this work. And so they're working on it. They're trying to figure out what they can do. They have already come back with some numbers to staff that they haven't submitted yet, but in verbal, they said we're right where we think those estimate numbers were close to it. We're doing what we can. We're still checking on things. These are companies that are in our community that are our neighbors that are trying to help. They're not trying to do anything besides help. They've even said, if there are other people that could step forward and we could come together as a team of city contractors in Fort Smith to figure this out, let's get together. Let's figure this out. So that's what they've done. The engineering specs are already done. I agree about the safety on the slides, but this is a water park engineer that built this and put their stamp on it. They are liable to do this. And so that's a part that I can give a response to. From there, the concept has been the team city coming around, figuring out what we can do to try to value engineer this. But I don't think staying put is an answer. That's what I've tried to say. I wanted to take action to see where there are. So there are experts that are looking at this. On debt, the slides, if we build the slides, this is what I conveyed to the unions. It's 34% projected fund balance savings for 26. It'll be 31%. So let's have a conversation. Let's sit down. Let's talk about this. Let's hear it. And I think that there's some conversation to be had, frankly, between the unions and the chiefs. I think that there might be some conversation that needs to happen there first. The administration had never heard from this. The chiefs had never heard from this. So there's some conversation to do here, but the point is to come together to consensus. The fund is there. It's strong. It is healthy because the city asked for us to balance a budget, and the balanced budget was passed. It created a surplus in the general fund that makes things possible. And there still is money in the general fund to listen to these things. I am sympathetic to the Laura's House. I know that people are talking about that. I advocated that in the last meeting. But I also will say, even as I'm a proponent of that, 5,000 visitors a year, but the water park's open in a limited time and have 100,000+ visitors. I think we should do both. The answer is, if we as a city are growing, and I've heard, well, the sales tax was down. October's sales tax was actually beyond the previous fiscal year. The numbers for November were actually outperforming, and they pulled in a rebate. That happened in May. What happens is when the government makes deals for rebates, they're able to claim those rebates. And the state picks when those are pulled out. The sales tax thing shows at least holding a line in the years before that. I'm definitely for an audit of Parrot Island Waterpark. I have a lack of confidence in ARM, especially after looking at this. I would like to see procedures put in place if they're going to continue on. The alcohol, I will just go on record. I'm not for the alcohol sales at Parrot Island Waterpark. My support of the water park is not blind. I've just tried to do my best to figure out how to go forward and not leave these slides on the ground. And that's the thing that where I'm at. I'm happy to hear more comments from my colleagues on this, but where I'm at is I don't see why Fort Smith has to make choices here. Our first responders matter. I'm totally supportive of them, and I'm happy to talk about it. I assumed, which is what I shouldn't have done, I assumed that there was unity within those departments and that we were working forward together. That assumption was wrong, and I apologize. Let's talk. Let's come together, but let's be reasonable with each other, and let's think through this and how we can do this. And if there are ways to do this, I want to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Director Neil Martin. Director Neil Martin.
So every time this has come before the board, it's been a 4-3 vote, 4 in favor, 3 against. What really sealed the deal, well, what started to seal the deal for me was when Sebastian County pulled out. We've gone into this a joint venture, and the city made the decision to purchase the slides. And it was at that point that the county said, we don't even want to be a part of this agreement. Then when the board, and maybe folks don't remember this, it was originally set that this $4.2 million was going to come out of the general fund. It got moved to parks. You might not remember that. It got moved to parks for a short period of time, and then got moved back to the general fund. That was frustrating for me when we moved it back to the general fund. We worked really, really hard as a board this last October, November. Not the board, the department heads, city administration worked really hard to get a balanced budget, a balanced operational budget. We'd had a heavy spending year in 25 or 24 and 25. Partly that was because of the slides and other things. But we worked really hard to get an operational budget where expenses weren't greater than our income that comes in. Along with that, we had to cut 71 positions across the city. Some of that included police, some of that included fire. But it allowed us to be able to get operationally balanced. But then to turn around and need to spend an additional $3 million when we're cutting all those positions just doesn't work. It doesn't work. So I've been a no. There's been 4 in favor, 3 against consistently. I feel like we're at a 4-3 vote right now. So what I'm going to ask in my last-ditch effort to preserve some of the general fund, I'm going to make a motion that this $1.2 million comes from parks and not the general fund. Now, I know that that's not what we want. I still hope it doesn't pass. But if it does, this is a protection for the general fund. Take it out of parks where it should be. When we approved the CIPs for parks, I made a motion that until these costs were identified, or excuse me, we would amend the parks CIP to include these dollars. That didn't pass. This is my last-ditch effort to get those into parks to relieve pressure off of the general fund, relieve some of the frustration from our police and fire. I know it's not gonna help that much, but at least it gets it in what I believe is the right place. So again, I hope this vote gets voted down, but if it doesn't, I'll make that motion. All I need is a second.
I'll second. I'll second that.
Okay. Director Kemp, did you have?
Well, since there's a second, do we need to call a vote, or can I make a comment? I can comment on the motion?
Yes, you can comment on the motion.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. I actually was originally wanting to do that. And then my conversations with the Parks Commission, with Ms. Deuster, the director of our parks, that I reached out just as a board member asking, listening to them, this would freeze all park CIP things they had planned for this year. This tennis court is tied into our young people, tournaments, people that are scheduled to come. And I just personally can't, I'm not going to vote in support of it, but I did start there, I will be honest. But when we talk about protecting a general fund, we did this with a balanced budget. The dollars still remain at 6% available for capital purchases of one-time, non-reoccurring items. So for me, I will be a no on this. Thank you.
I think Director Christina Casavas was next in the queue.
If we want to go around and vote on the motion and then.
Yes, and then I'll let Director Good after you. Go ahead.
Directors George Katsavas.
Excuse me, point of order. I still had comments on the motion.
On the motion? Okay,
Yes.
Correct.
go ahead. My comment was not on the motion. so
Correct,
go
you were
ahead.
just calling the
Yeah,
vote.
may I have a
Right.
comment too?
Well, no, I had a comment, but not on the motion,
Not
so
on the motion.
go
You have
ahead.
a comment on
I
the
do have a
motion,
comment.
George?
Yes.
On the motion.
Well,
The motion to amend, you want to comment?
yes.
Go ahead, Director Good, and you give us some thought, Director Good.
Thank you, Mayor. So I'm not in favor of pulling the money from the Parks Department. Director Kemp made a comment that the projects in the Park CIP, would be pushed back, and we don't know how far. And I attend the Parks meetings, as many as possible. And the CIP is based on not the board or the commissioner's input. It's based on our citizens' input, the population's input. These people are asking for these projects, and they've been asking for a while. And yes, I get this information from citizens that attend the meetings and commissioners that are at the meetings regularly. And I did ask Ms. Deucer about some information. So I'm not in favor of putting this burden on the parks, because a lot of these neighborhoods have been waiting on these projects. They've advocated for these for quite some time. So that's the only comment that I have on the motion.
Okay. Did you have any comments on the motion?
Yeah, all that I say is, these are all budgets that we've passed. We account for all of them. So, I mean, we're talking about general fund and we're talking about parks. Somebody's got to take a hit here. It's either the general fund or it's parks. I feel like this falls into parks. I wish the $4.2 million were there, but I feel like that's the right thing to do, especially in this situation.
Okay, thank you. So are there any other comments on the vote? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Directors George Katsavas.
Okay, this is to take money out of the parks, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
No. No.
Christina Katsavas.
No.
Settle.
A vote no means we keep it in the general fund, is that correct?
Correct.
No.
Martin.
Yes.
Rego.
No.
Good.
No.
Kemp.
No.
Motion is defeated with 1 in favor and 6 opposed.
Okay. Thank you.
Mayor.
Yes. Director Good, you recognize.
Now, just a couple of comments on the motion, not the one that was just defeated, the current motion. I want to thank Director Kemp for his comments. I appreciate the work that you've done working with the company, trying to get us a better price. I do want to point out, I believe 2 instances where Director Martin might have misspoke. I know for a fact one of them is a misspeak, but I don't believe, and maybe you can show me, when this project, the Parrot Island Waterslides ever went to the Parks Department. I don't believe that I've ever seen that, nor have I heard that.
So
Secondly, you made the statement that the county, after the board voted to move forward with Parrot Island, that's when they chose not to do so. That is incorrect. They had 2 votes after we voted, and their vote was 8 in favor, 4 opposed. They were waiting on 1 vote to have a quorum.
That was a loss. They lost then.
That's right, it did, because they didn't have a quorum, because they didn't have that ninth vote.
I mean, that's a
But
no
I'm
vote.
talking majority of the representation of people that were elected to vote who represent the will of the people. So I just wanted to point those two things out. And if you do want to show where, or maybe Sarah can, if there is, where Parrot Island was part of the parks budget, that'd be fine. But, you know, I'm going to say this, you know, very contentious, you know, there are a lot of people in our city that watch us, that go through the motions with us, that are just as aggravated and want to see us either move forward or back away from it. You know, I'm full support of the audit. You know, I also believe that at one point that we saw the email from ARM. I felt as though they were responsible for keeping that $4.2 million price given in the email that Jeff forwarded. You know, I believe it was from Carl. You know, the other issue was, you know, before moving forward, you know, I believe we all might have asked, you know, finance, administration, you know, is this doable? I know for a fact that I did. You know, can we afford it? And I was told by 3 different individuals in management that yes, but yes, we had to watch our spending. So it was possible and affordable, and we could do it. We had a majority of this board voted to move forward. After the county did at that point say that they weren't going to move forward, we took it upon ourselves, not just for us, because I don't know if any of us has any personal agenda with Parrot Island. I know I don't. You know, I listen to my constituents, I listen to the audience, I listen to people that send me emails and texts. But again, the voices that I hear from just aren't in this room. You know, I am part of the Boys and Girls Club Board of Directors. I've been on both. You know, I'm always in the school system, and I'm hearing from these kids, and I'm hearing from these organizations that love what we present, you know, with Parrot Island. And I'm going to also say that, you know, leadership isn't easy. You know, leadership is making the hard decisions. You know, and at no point have we ever, as a board or any organization, been tasked in a process where we just focus on one project. We've never been a one-project board to vote on. We always have multiple things to vote on. And in saying that, these are moving parts. We know that there are other things that take priority to some people. You know, we have issues from water rates to sewer rates to sanitation to streets to water leaks. You know, we have a whole lot of issues to talk about and think about. So, in saying all that, it's not hard. I mean, it's not hard to put your finger on the pulse of the community. You know, I think Director Kemp said that there is a cost of standing still. You know, there's a cost of standing still. There's a cost, possibly a large loss, in selling them. And Director Christina Krasavitz made a good point. You know, if we could make ARM, you know, take the slides back, you know, that would be great. But that's not something that I believe we can do. Maybe we can ask legal, but, you know, I don't know if that's anything that we can do.
Colby, could we get an opinion on that?
Sure, I'd need to evaluate the agreement. If there's a claim for a breach of an agreement by ARM with respect to these slides, I'd want to review the agreement. If the claim is unrelated to a contract and is more of a fraud type claim with respect to assertions representatives of ARM may have made or may not have made, I'd need to understand those assertions before opining as to the validity of any type of potential claim of the city.
So we had a reasonable expectation to believe they knew what they were, you know, we could trust their expertise when they quoted as that.
But
is that a legal argument that would hold up?
So is there anything tying, you know, do we have some sort of agreement with ARM with respect to its involvement and actions it took in this process of buying these slides, evaluating the proposals? Is that part of an agreement, Jeff?
I think the only contract we have is with Whitewater, with the purchase slides.
There's no such agreement, Clint.
So, to me, Director Kutsavas, the claim would sound outside of contract. It would be under a fraud-type claim. And, you know, the validity of that would be uncertain for me to predict that at this time. It would, you know, I'd need to know, we'd need to think about what was asserted, who asserted it at arm, how did the city rely on it? To prove fraud, you got to prove, misrepresentations, affirmative misrepresentations that are to the detriment of the city. So I'm not telling you there's no claim, but I just don't want to tell you the possibility or the validity of a claim without knowing all those factors.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Director, yeah, you still have the floor.
Jeff, you said something earlier that caught my attention when you were talking about the $650,000 and the ancillary costs. You said the local contractor's working on that. Is that not being competitively bid?
That is being worked as part of the other processes that we've involved with Royal Ridge in terms of evaluating the bid specifications that were put out and responded to in October versus value engineering or trying to put a real and current cost to those right now.
Why did Royal Ridge not put in a bid when the bid process was open? I believe Director Kemp said they reached out to Director Martin directly. Why didn't they put in a bid?
Well, the two companies that did put in bids were specifically aquatics companies. And Royal Ridge is not an aquatics company. I think they were a subcontractor to one of those, but regarding the flat work or the concrete work, the work that they do on a regular basis.
So they weren't qualified to put in a bid?
They're certainly qualified as a contractor. They did not feel qualified as an aquatics contractor to put in a bid when other aquatics contractors are applying.
But they feel qualified now?
Certainly.
I think it's important to remember because a lot of the discussion around this I've heard is doing this for the kids, doing it for our residents here, but 72%, I think that's what you sent us in an email today, of people that came in 2025 were from out of town. They didn't have a Fort Smith zip code. So this is a subsidy for people that don't even live here. And if you look at what the numbers bear out, this isn't something we're doing for our residents. If you look at what the numbers bear out for the months of July and August, and I took May and June out because of the rainfall, but July and August, the rainfall in 25 was similar to the rainfall in 24. It was actually a little bit less in 25, but according to Talk Business, our sales tax, our revenue was down, and additionally, the tourism tax revenue was down almost 25%. So we're not seeing a return. People coming here, eating, shopping, we're not seeing that. So I think that's important to remember. We're really not doing this for our residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Rigo was next in the queue, followed by Director Kemp, and then we'll go to Director Settle.
Your Mayor, when you get done, after Kevin.
I just wanted to thank Director Kemp for his work on this effort. I can imagine a lot of time that's put into it and a lot of putting your neck out there, opening yourself up for particular criticisms, just for trying to get us a solution-minded option to consider. And I'm, as one of 7, I'm personally very grateful for the effort that you put in on this project to give us something to consider tonight.
Thank you very much. Director Kemp.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor Rigo. One of the things I want to make clear too, as I've looked at this personally, I can only speak to myself. When you calculate in selling, and I did look at that and just trying to think through it, I think the kicker we have to ask ourselves is, how much cents on a dollar are we willing to stomach on the sell of this? And when you look at the projections of it, you calculate taking it apart, putting it back in boxes. You look at the freight. It was estimated around $2.5 million that you're going to be out on this project. And for me, then it's like looking at, okay, what would it take to go forward? And it was $2.6 million. So for me, looking at this, it's hard for me to think through the idea of selling them. I think when we talk about the water bills, and I'm sensitive to that, I mean, I help people on my job on the daily with people covering things. The project concern numbers, which if you are watching online or you find yourself in this situation, the city board has passed a policy called Project Concern. And currently, the numbers are, in December of 2025, there were 812 households that are active participants in that program. There's an income schedule that's all available. I would encourage you to contact the city. When I'm helping people with benevolent situations, what I'm finding myself is high electric bills or high rent or needing help with deposits. And so one of the things I want to point out is that, but I think that the percentage of kids that are visiting Parrot Island Waterpark from our community are those who are in lower income or lower socioeconomic status. And I'll tell you how I...
Excuse me, Director Kemp. I'm going to ask ours to please respect your elected officials who are working very, very hard to do the best they can for this city, just like we respect you when you come to the microphone. Thank you very much. Go ahead, continue.
Yeah, thank you. I was just going to say it's expensive to travel. It's expensive to get hotels, to go to places like Branson, Missouri. And I would even advocate that I, my own personal family, love to go to Silver Dollar City. Don't go, because it was hard to justify the cost of doing such. These slides, as we're talking about amenities, talking about Laura's house, and once again, first responders, I would say let's talk about it all. I think we should look at these things and be careful of our scarcity mindset, but the opportunity that for us is real. And I think that we need to be looking at these ideas, and my thoughts are there, but I just want to make sure that people understand that there is some opportunity for help, and that I want us to make sure that we're providing opportunities for those families of low socioeconomic status that may need an opportunity to have, and I think this can be one. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go to Director Settle.
Thank you, Mayor. To the public, for the past year, I've been very quiet on the subject, so I'd like to have a few minutes of my time to speak on where my thoughts are at. I'd ask you to refrain. If we're going to go tattering back and forth, we can, but I'd ask you, my professional respect for the past year has not been to comment on anything at all. I've been berated and barraged. I've been very respectful, so I'm asking that in return for the next few minutes. My love for water parks began in the 1980s when my dad could barely afford anything. Single dad with 2 kids. He could afford a Wet Willie's water slide pass for $50. That was my summer. That's where the love of water parks began. Today you can go for Parrot Island Waterpark for a full year for $55. Just imagine 40 years later you can go for about the same price you did back in the 80s. Let's get the facts out there. Attendance was 105,686 people last year at Parrot Island. 46% were in the county, so that's a city in the county. 54% were elsewhere. In 2025, we celebrated our 1 millionth visitor at Parrot Island Waterpark. 1 million visitors at Parrot Island Waterpark. People come all over locations throughout the United States to visit the park. We have a group that comes from Kansas City every other weekend to do the flow rider. Rents it out multiple times, stays for 3 nights, and heads back. That's just one of many people that come and visit the park. The park was originally designed to lose $150,000 a year. The park, that was the design back in 2012. Today, the park has garnered over $1 million, according to Mr. Tilley's article that he did a couple months ago. Has made over $1 million. That's gone back into the park for the flow rider, for the green slide, and some maintenance. People want to talk about the money we lose. I understand that. But let's don't forget the $195,000 it gives back to the community on a yearly basis. That's 8,000 free pay passes. That includes events for Mother's Days, Father's Days, Healthcare Day, supporting our military, supporting our first responders, having kindergarten bash, Boys and Girls Club, the 188th, and along with all the schools that kick off the year. $194,000 given back to the community out of the park every year. And let's don't forget that once a week we have dark water nights. It's a cheaper rate than there today, and it is packed to the brim. So let's put some. If we did talk about the selling, yes, we were right. We hit about a $2.5 million hit to sell them. Tourism is a very important part of our region, which allows people from outside to pay, the city to pay. Everybody that's from outside the city helps pay for sales tax for police, fire. They go to restaurants, they go shopping, they go down. Now the Brahms right around the corner, they'll go get some ice cream after it's done and help pay for all that stuff. But people say, why now? Why not now? You know, people say it's not a good time. We need to invest in our future of our city. As I said last week, we're in a race to improve our city. And if we don't, we're going to fall behind. Companies need workers. Workers come here because there's stuff to do. If we can't supply those workers, jobs will go somewhere else. The park makes a difference also in people's lives. Kids that started off as lifeguards out there in high school, go to college, are now doctors, teachers, and executives for Walmart because they started out at Parrot Island Waterpark. The other thing is we got to think about is, you think it's funny to knock kids that get an education? That's really sad, folks. That's not a stretch because it happens every day.
Continue.
Today we had word that Finnish F-35 started today. The Finnish community is here. The F-35, the FMS project is coming. New citizens from all over the world want something to do. Why do we want to drive them up to Northwest Arkansas? Why not have something here to do? These countries will be coming here. We're going to become a world community. This is very important to our mission and to our military and our freedom to have our countries come to our communities. The way I look at my job as city director is to make the lives better for all citizens of Fort Smith, just not a few. To make the city better. I deeply love my hometown. I'm doing this for the kids and the communities and the families of tomorrow. And have the same experience as I did. The kids today will be the leaders of tomorrow. Our city's in transforming in front of our eyes. People all over the world are coming. We need amenities to make our city better. As I continue to fight for families and kids to do something fun here, the project here will make the park better. It'll give people something less fortunate opportunity to enjoy something they may not have to do. If you've never gone out to Parrot Island Waterpark, I challenge you this year to go out there. Look at the kids' faces. See who's out there. And understand that the kids and families out there enjoy the park on a daily basis. So I said at the beginning, this reminds me of why I grew up here. And why my love for waterparks became a season pass to Wet Willie's Waterpark slide. This is probably the reason I got my degree, came back, and helped serve my community. I look forward to Parrot Island transforming into a world-class destination, and look for the next million visitors at Parrot Island. If you haven't been out there, I challenge you to go out there with open eyes. And look who's out there. Look at those kids' faces. You know, until you do, it's hard to understand. Mayor, I appreciate the time on the floor, and to my directors, thank you very much. And I look forward to what happens next. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Director George Kasavage.
Thank you, Mayor. And I'll tell you what, I don't know what to say. The fact that this has come down to this is pretty sad. I thought, you know, when I make a decision, I try to base it on a business decision, return on investment. Do we have the money to do this? Do we not have the money? And there's still, Jeff, you're looking at probably another $1 million on top of what y'all quoted. Has the county, have we got parking from the county promise? Oh, that's right. Has anybody even done an inventory to see if all the slides are out there? No. Yeah, and then underground plumbing, even the county says, well, they're going to need to be replaced. Is that true? Is it?
I'm sorry.
I mean, you know, people say, well, we can't, you know, we can lose a little now and get rid of those things, or we're going to lose a lot later on. That's the way it's going to be. So, and if I understand all y'all are agreeable to an audit.
Yeah, I mean, it's on its way.
Well, let me see.
I've already requested one. It doesn't take a vote of the board to get an audit, so my request
Well, maybe
was
I'll
enough.
support this. This is what I want to do. Given serious questions about procurement, authorization, and use of general fund dollars, I believe this board has an obligation to seek an independent review by the Arkansas Attorney General to protect the city and the taxpayers. There's no doubt in my mind somebody knew about the installation cost of these slides and they hit it. There's no doubt about it. We got played. We got fooled. You know, it's easy. $4 million doesn't sound, it sounds like a lot, but $7 million, that'll catch your attention. And on top of that, you know, they have the power to they can subpoena emails. They can subpoena photos. I want the truth. I want to know. That's all I want, the truth. It is, you know, it's just, I mean, Kobe misrepresentation of facts, that's fraud, isn't it?
Misrepresentation of a material fact.
Yeah.
Reliance by the recipient of those misrepresentation and damages are your general elements of a fraud claim. Yes.
Okay. Collusion.
Well, no, you don't need colluding to prove fraud.
Oh, no, not that, but I'm saying there's no doubt one of these four companies knew about this installation. They had to.
I don't know.
Nobody can be that stupid.
I don't know.
I guarantee you, Carl knew and he didn't tell us. Just like the deal with the audit lady when the police report was hid from us. That was the way they operated back then. But I just want the truth. The people want the truth. A lot of money. So, and Kevin, you know the nature of water parks is if you don't make improvements every 3 or 4 years to keep interest, then sales go down, correct? We've spent, what was $2 million on the Lazy River and something else since it's open?
No, we didn't spend that much, George. No. Flow Rider, we spent.
Okay, we spent $2 million, but we hadn't, I mean, we still hadn't paid for it.
Okay.
But, I mean, I'm sure this is going to pass. I think it's a done deal. You know, I think it's sad, but, you know, we have the future to look to. We have the elections to look to. So, hang in there. I'm done.
Director Good, you're recognized.
Well, what about my motion?
Oh, I didn't hear you say you were making a
I
motion.
want to make a motion to get a review by the Attorney General. Civil, criminal, I don't care.
Right. There's a motion.
There's a motion on the floor, and that one's not germane to the motion.
Okay. Okay. There's already a motion on the floor.
Motion for what?
Okay.
The motion I made?
No. The motion to approve.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to speak to the comments that people can't afford it. You know, people can't afford to go to Parrot Island. Director Settle actually spoke a little bit about the community discounts. You know, Parrot Island provided $195,000 to nonprofit and community discounts. And not only that, you know, corporations have value, see value in this and in the community, where they give sponsorships for free days or discounted days as well. You know, not to mention that, you know, our fire even uses the facility for training. So just wanted to speak to that about not being able to afford it. We have a lot of community that gets involved and allow people from the Boys and Girls Club to have free days and discounted days. You know, Boast not only do, you know, the folks at Boast get to go, but their caretakers go also for free. I wanted to ask the question, because I don't know, but I think it's a good question. What would our sales tax be if we didn't have Parrot Island Waterpark? You know, what could it be in the future?
Okay.
Thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Okay. Director Christina Casavage.
Well, I would just say I think I have an answer to that question. The email that was provided to the board on March 10th of 25, it showed the projected increase in sales tax from the water park. If the slides were operational, it was about $2,600 or $2,800, and then $3,600 for the next year.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Are there any more comments from the board?
Mayor, go ahead.
Director Kemp.
Good, Jeff, what happened to the 400,000 tax money they collected on accident? Where'd it go?
That money is still, that money is still in the possession of the court, pending the outcome of the class action suit.
If it's not claimed in a certain time, can we file claim to it?
So there's currently a civil action pending in the Sebastian County Circuit Court that was initiated by the City of Fort Smith and Sebastian County with respect to the collection of taxes on those admission tickets, which should not have been collected by ARM.
Right.
The city and county have interpled, meaning deposited those funds, which are between $400,000 and $500,000, into the registry of the court. We requested the court appoint a master, or the class representative requested the court appoint a master to notify potential claimants of their refund and take steps to pay anyone who files a claim with respect to a refund he or she might have. The case is still pending. After the claims have all been paid, and I would be very surprised if there are many claims, there will be funds left. At that point, the city and the county will decide or make a motion to the court to return that money to Parrot Island to use for the park, and that's subject to the court's review and approval. But I, it's subject to the board certainly telling me otherwise. That would be a way to get the money back to the park, by which the users of the park who didn't submit a claim and get their refund could utilize and get the benefit of those funds as it uses to maintain and continue to operate the park.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So we're getting Director Kemp.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I was going to ask a few questions here, listening to the colleagues. To me, the slides the city purchased, I know when we're talking about ARM, and I actually appreciate the discussion about that, this project is not an ARM project. This would be a city project. And even the companies that are trying to help here, they even asked that they would deal with the city. So, obviously the unpaid invoices of Burton Pools and Spas didn't really help the situation. So obviously they've asked to work with the city, but staff has made it clear that this is not an ARM project. But I also, in the spirit of that, to the motion that's to come, a question for you, Mr. Rowe, would be this, that if we could get help, or if there was something uncovered that led to, something fraudulent, something criminal, and things of that nature, can that still be taken action even if the slides are constructed and we find out that there was something that we were misconstrued by that was criminal? Can action still be taken against them?
Yes, construction of the slides wouldn't diminish any potential claim. What I'd be concerned about right now is a timing issue, a statute of limitations. A claim, any claim is pending, if it exists. So you've got a statute of limitations by which you have to file that claim or you lose it. So what I'd suggest, to evaluate any claim, have my office do the pertinent conversations with staff, figure out what ARM told who and what they told, and my office can provide an opinion as to the validity of any potential claim, and the board can be apprised of that and determine what, if anything, it wants to do.
Yeah, I personally would like to hear that, and looking forward to that, but I also think the point I want to make is this is not an ARM project, but being that that's the tallest water slides in the state of Arkansas, if they were constructed, I think that's opportunities to pursue naming rights or expect more from our management company. The other thought I've even asked that the administration would think about is potentially looking at a management company that, whoever that may be, that is the one brought forward, if it's a continuation with ARM or someone new, that there be maybe a formation of some adjustment of their management fees to recover some CapEx dollars back to the park so that the park can build and beef itself back up. So I think there's some opportunity there on the backside that I would encourage administration, regardless of who it is selected, to really begin to think about if this is such a big commodity as it's been touted, and I think it is after looking at the slides on the ground out there, and being that it's the tallest slide in Arkansas, if they're the management firm, I would like to see them sweeten a deal with us to help us recoup some cost. Thank you.
Director Good.
Thank you. Just a couple of comments before I call the vote. Director Kemp just spoke to the fact that with the installation of the new water slides, we'd have the tallest water slide in Arkansas in the state. Bragging rights alone. But I also wanted to mention that 2 of the new slides, 2 of the 5 are the first in the world to be installed. And one of them is the Nautilus and the other one is this top spin. I don't know if you guys saw the video of what those would look like, but they're amazing. But you know, we say all the time that we're not Northwest Arkansas. You know, we're not trying to compete with Northwest Arkansas. You know, we're making a name for ourselves. We're Fort Smith, Arkansas. You know, we're not trying to compete. You know, but in doing so, in making a name for ourselves, you know, we've got to go out on a limb. You know, we've got to do what we think is best for our community, and hearing from these folks, as many of the people that we can. You know, we know that for a fact that we're not going to make everyone happy with every decision we make. Okay. But again, you know, let's not be Northwest Arkansas. We're not competing with Alma. You know, we're Fort Smith. What's best for us as a community to keep our friends, our families, and our money here? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Are there any other comments from the board? At this time, the decision to expand the water park rests with this board. Rests with this board. And I will not be voting on this item. Respect with the board's role I respect the board's role in evaluating these issues and determining what they think is best for the best interest of this community. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Directors.
Well, this is my motion, right?
No.
Directors Christina Katsavas.
As always, no.
Settle.
Yes.
Martin.
No.
Rigo.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Kemp.
Yes.
George Katsavas.
No.
Motion passes 4 in favor and 3 opposed.
Okay. Thank you. At this time, we're going to take a 10-minute recess. We're going to take a 10-minute recess. We have 2 minutes remaining on the recess, so if you could be working your way back to your seats. Thank you. Okay. We're gonna reconvene. Thank you. Thank you. We're going to reconvene. Thank you. Pass those down for me, please.
Mr. Mayor, it's a little out of order, but I just wanted to say something, if I may, a public thanks to someone very briefly.
You recognize, go ahead.
Over this past weekend, my wife's grandmother passed away, complications from dementia, and Mrs. Kemp, Director Kemp's wife, brought some chocolate chip cookies for my wife, and I very much appreciate that. I'm grateful for that, and I know my wife will very much appreciate that gesture, so thank you very much.
Okay.
Mayor,
Thank you
can I
for
say something
sharing
real
that.
quick? Mayor, can I say something real quick? I want to withdraw that motion until Directors Forum comes up.
Okay, we got it.
All right.
Okay. Okay. Since we're reconvened, let's go to item number 4.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 4 tonight is a resolution authorizing change order number 2 to a contract with Forsgren for a construction of a consent decree remedial measures project. Director of Engineering Todd Mitke will speak to this item and answer questions from the board.
Okay, you're recognized.
Thank you. This is a change order number 2 for Forsgren Incorporated, and this will add working days and $95,000 to the contract for increased scope of replacing a main sewer segment that was cameraed and not identified as being needed to be replaced in 2018, but now with several more years of use needed to be replaced. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you very much. Madam Clerk, are there any citizens' comments on this item?
Yes, we have 2 individuals, the first being Joey McCutcheon.
Please extend my condolences to your wife, Director Rigo.
Mr. McCutcheon, thank you very much for that. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. I've talked about an independent contractor repeatedly, and the board has said that we're going to get an objective, independent engineering contractor who can come in and look at these projects and give us some guidance. and some objectivity. And, you know, one thing that we saw in this last, it was disappointing. We didn't see one police officer. We didn't see one fire. But you're not going to. It's just the same reason, is because they're scared, because they'll lose their job, and that's sad. But, you know, we see this bid here going up from Forsgren, $95,000 in an additional 50 days. Now, that needs to be evaluated by somebody who knows, and some independent contractor. 2 months ago, 3 months ago, we saw an initial estimate on our consent decree work on one project was $11 million, and it went to $17 million, and it found its way all the way to you, and Director Martin took leadership, asked questions, and got that situation corrected. The other one was a bid went from, an initial bid went from $5.19 million to $9 million just because we didn't do the bidding process correctly. And that's concerning. And quite frankly, this board cannot be trusted with $300 million. I mean, we see what you do with a Parrot Island Waterpark, and that's very concerning to have no oversight by somebody who knows what they're doing, with all due respect to the department heads. We need someone, an engineer, an independent thinker who can monitor situations like we're voting on tonight, who can monitor what's happening in the bid process. To quote Director
Thank you very much.
It's a drop in the bucket to hire someone to monitor this.
Okay, thank you.
Next, we have Shane McKinney.
Hi, everybody. So, way to spend all our money. That's really cool of you. Cool to abstain from voting and make that announcement just in case it became relevant in advance. Shows a distinctive lack of leadership. And you guys, I'm really ashamed of you all, and I think a lot of people out here have already made it very clear that they're ashamed of you guys. But that said, I think that life is full of problems. I think a house that I'm starting to fix is full of problems. I think that tomorrow a car could hit one of my houses. Happened last year. You never know. That's a problem. It's not about the problems that we have right now that determine where we are. It's how we handle the problems that we're facing. This is a problem. I don't like it. I've got a solution that I'm going to try to implement to try to fix a lot of these problems. And I'm going to put an incredible amount of my own effort and time into it over the next year. I'm sure you guys can figure that. But the problems that we face as a city don't need to be the thing that we keep bringing up in order to justify actions. We just need to handle our problems. We just need to take responsibility. And as for throwing kids around every time you want to spend our money, I love kids. I've taught martial arts and volunteered many times.
Are we talking about the item of number?
I'm talking about what you guys just voted on.
We're talking about item number 4.
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize.
Yeah.
But I figured the vote would go the way it went, and I signed up for the one after it because I'm not a stupid idiot, and I wanted to make sure to call y'all out on it. So thank you very much.
That's all.
Okay, thank you. This time we entertain a motion to adopt the resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any comments from the board? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Director Settle?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Rigo?
Yes.
Good?
Yes.
Kemp?
Yes.
George Katsavas?
Yes.
Christina Katsavas?
Yes.
It's approved, 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
Item number 5.
Item 5 tonight is a resolution authorizing change order number 1 to a contract with Patriot Utilities for construction of a consent decree remedial measures project. Mr. Mickey?
Thank you. This project experienced significant delays due to permitting disputes with the railroad, Patriot Railroad, and necessary for that, the extension of working time, 16 additional working days, which is honestly not much for a railroad of this magnitude, and a small amount of money for $12,099 for increased fencing costs near the staging area.
Okay, thank you. Any board comments on this item?
None indicating.
Please call the roll.
Need a motion?
I mean the motion. Okay.
Motion to approve
Are there any
item
citizens'
5.
comments? There are none. This time we entertain a motion to adopt a resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any board comments on the item? Okay. Seeing none, call the roll.
Directors Martin,
Yes.
Rego,
Yes.
Good,
Yes.
Kemp,
Yes.
George Katsavas.
Yes.
Christina Katsavas.
Yes.
Settle.
Yes.
It's approved, 7 in favor and 0
Let's
opposed.
go to item 6, the consent agenda. Mr. Dingman.
There are 16 items on tonight's consent agenda. We have a resolution authorizing an agreement with Main Street Fort Smith for 2026. We have a resolution authorizing an agreement with the Roosevelt Group for 2026. A resolution adopting the 2026 City Internal Audit Plan and 2026 Utilities Internal Audit Plan. A resolution adopting the 2026 Internal Audit Charter. A resolution adopting the 2026 Audit Advisory Committee Charter. An ordinance authorizing public services agreements with SRCA, Area Agency on Aging, and Project Compassion. An ordinance authorizing public services agreement with the Fort Smith Museum of History. A resolution authorizing a software as a service agreement with IGM Holdings. A resolution authorizing amendment number 6 to engineering services agreement with Burns and McDonnell related to the Lake Fort Smith Transmission Line Phase 2 project. A resolution approving easement acquisition for the Highway 45 utility relocation project. A resolution approving easement acquisition for the Lake Fort Smith Transmission Line Phase 3 project. A resolution authorizing a third-party solid waste hauler agreement. A resolution authorizing purchase of a skid steer for solid waste services per the replacement program. A resolution authorizing purchase of an excavator for solid waste services per their replacement program. A resolution authorizing purchase of a dozer for solid waste services per their replacement program, and a resolution authorizing purchase of a roll-off truck for solid waste services per their replacement program.
Okay, thank you. Is there any item on this agenda that you'd like to pull off a separate discussion? Director Neil Martin and then Director Katsavas.
A and F.
A and F.
Comments on F, but I do want to talk A.
B and H.
B and H. Are there any others? Okay, we'll go to A.
As it relates to A, I would like to pull this out, not vote on it, and have a study session related to it. This is about Main Street Fort Smith, our downtown. You know, I think there's some things that this board needs to take into consideration, especially considering Main Street Fort Smith's survey that we just had. But I also think it's time to take a good assessment, another assessment of Main Street Fort Smith and how they're performing. I think we need to, this is a 3-year agreement, what we're signing up for is a 3-year agreement, 1 year and 2-year automatic renewals. We need to hear from them. We need to talk with them. We need to ask some questions before we move forward with this. So I'm requesting we pull that item for a future study session. I believe, well, I just say we pull that for a future study session so we can have Amanda Hager here and we can talk it through, maybe talk to that board and truly see the value or you know, or make an assessment of Main Street Fort Smith and how they're performing.
Okay.
Is that a motion to table pending?
So do I have to make a motion? Do I have to make a motion to table it?
The citizens not get to speak on these consent items.
We do have several individuals
Okay.
to speak on item 6A,
On 6A.
but is that a motion to?
I'll wait for the citizens' comments and then I'll make that. I can make a motion.
Okay, call the residents to speak on A, please.
First, we have Andy Postrick.
Hi, thank you, everybody. My name's Andy Postrick. I love living in Fort Smith because of our downtown area. Just to personalize it for you, one thing that I love about downtown Fort Smith is historically there's a man named William McCorkle. His house was about 300 feet that way. He was a chemist. He had an apothecary shop right where Tipsy's Pub is today. He was the leader of a group called the Rex Wheelmen. They were like sort of a precursor to the Good Roads League of Arkansas, which was in itself a precursor to what is now RDOT today. And he was right here in Fort Smith. As far as Main Street, Fort Smith, I'm not sure what is like a good, fair price and what our ROI for them is, but I do want everybody to know, if you weren't aware, that downtown Fort Smith has a huge return on investment through property tax values. The property taxes downtown are much higher than the rest of the city, and I just wanted to give you two examples because I've only got 2 minutes, but if we look at the Casey's in downtown Fort Smith, it's right down there, and then we compare it to the Casey's on Rogers Avenue. And remember, they're not the exact same size, so we have to compare by square footage. The Casey's in downtown Fort Smith pays 57 cents per square foot of property tax versus 20 cents per square foot for the one on Rogers Avenue. So the one downtown is paying almost 300% more in property tax than the one on Rogers Avenue. First National Bank building, the big tall building, which is one of the highest property taxes in the city. If you compare that to that Arvest Tower across the street from the mall, First National Bank pays $3.63 per square foot, and RDOT pays only $2 per square foot, which is 80% higher property tax return downtown versus elsewhere in the city. And you can do that parcel by parcel across the whole city, and you will find that downtown contributes more to property tax than anybody would ever imagine. Thank you.
Next, we have Ken Lyon.
Oh, we're going to make this about the slides again, aren't you? It's not. I'm actually guessing this. I'm glad y'all brought the 646 up because I actually got to work with them before. I tried to. Okay. So thank you for actually delaying that. Definitely do that. I think that needs serious review. A few years back, I was actually trying to do art installations in the downtown area during COVID, specifically using old school projectors, literally hack them with solid state relays where you can do activations where like a bike group rolls up. You take the public murals, you can do activation with different lights. It looks like it's moving, nice and cheap. Tried to get the unexpected group to work with me. They basically said, well, we'll let you use our branding on it after it, and we don't have any money for anybody local. And, but yeah, well, you can stick our sticker on it and we'll announce it that we did it. So that didn't really work out. But the main thing I'd heavily recommend is that Claire mentioned that they don't have the negotiations of the murals for public fair use. I actually got shut down trying to do commercial development because I couldn't figure out how to navigate the negotiations of the different art. Because trying to take an actual video to promote downtown was actually unexpectedly blocked. I really did come out with all the sticks today, sorry. How long? Okay. Oh, Lord, you got a minute more. There's more. Positive things, I really do think downtown is actually the move for Fort Smith. The ROI, Miss Laura's is the unique value proposition for Fort Smith. What are we even doing with water slides? Honestly, it's rotting in a field for an insurance scam is honestly what it looks like from the narrative outside while we're doing nothing for the city. Set up a scenario to actually play into that true grit thing, the whole thing that 646 is supposed to be promoting. I have mixed feels about them succeeding versus they have good intentions, great people, I love them, but like there's work to be done. And we're fussing about a budget going down the drain at a water slide instead of actually making real investments that have public ROI for us. Downtown Arkansas is a fantastic history. It's the only unique value proposition we have left, which is bringing people to talk about things like honest history. That's the commodity that we have, or military stuff. So unless y'all want to have hard conversations about like moving nuclear batteries around or something because of the fort, we should probably be figuring out how to like make the fort and true grit theme stick for the place that we have, because it's what we got, right? All right, that's my rant. Thank you.
Next, we have Chris Cadelli.
I'd like to oppose this non-essential spending. This appears to behave as yet another layer of pseudo-bureaucracy. So if you're an entrepreneur looking at opening a business downtown, how many layers of bureaucracy do you have to contend with? You've got the city itself, you've got the CBID and Main Street. You'd think with all that organization, downtown would be revitalized and thriving. Where's the ROI on this? Thank you.
Next, we have Crystal Cadelli.
I strongly oppose allocating $150,000 to downtown 646. The city already allocates $648,000 to CBID. $200,000 of it is spent on downtown activities alone. The mayor spends almost $68,000 on the 4th of July, and with an additional $162,000 on special events. This is all totaling over $1 million, over $400,000 of it dedicated to downtown. And like my husband said, where's the ROI? We haven't seen any. We see homeless, we see people in need, we don't see thriving businesses. We currently have just passed $2.6 million more for slides, with the yellow slide down for safety issues, according to Drew Peterson, without a cost to fix it. We have they have a significant water leak they can't find, and the meter is, again, currently turned off. We have $1 billion in infrastructure needs. We, I guess, have completely forgot about the consent decree and the new agreement with the feds. So where are our priorities? Where are they? I don't understand. I understand that you're saying that your job is hard, and I get it, but where are your priorities? Would you do this to your family members? No, it's not your money. It's our money. And you need to focus on what needs to be done. So I say vote no for the $150,000. I know it's a drop in the bucket, but every drop in the bucket helps. Thank you.
Next, we have Joey McCutcheon.
Thank you, Director Martin, for speaking conservatively and for looking after the best interest of our city. You did it you did it back in 2023 on this issue too. I looked at a Talk Business article, which was very thorough. I think this has been going on since 2017. You wanted, and maybe not quite that long, but even if it's 3 years, that's $450,000. I mean, we're just spending money like it's going out of style. And we need measurables. When we give somebody $150,000, we need measurables. We're going to talk in a minute about the massive amounts that we're giving out to private organizations. $82,000 to Fort Smith cemeteries, which, by the way, is illegal. And if you don't get that money back quickly, I'm going to sue you on it. It's just purely illegal. $82,000. Now you're going to give money to Fort Smith Museum so that they can have their utilities on. You know, I've already sued the mayor for his illegal spending. I mean, you've been down this path. You better make sure that you get good legal advice, and you know when you're giving money to Fort Smith Museum of History, area agency of the agency, Project Compassion, and the Sebastian County Retired Citizens Association. For example, the last 3 years, that's $793,000. $793,000. Hey, all these are great organizations, but it's unconstitutional. And even if it's not unconstitutional, don't we have other priorities? $500 million for a transmission line from Fort Smith up to Lake Fort Smith and a treatment facility. Those are priorities. Those are real priorities. Put it on hold, as Director Martin has said, and let's do a study session because, look, we know we've got the downtown dudes who are controlling downtown. They want all the power, and now we're just giving them $150,000 to do what they want to do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor McGill.
That's all for item 6A.
Okay. Item B.
That was me. Jeff, do we need the Roosevelt Group for consulting if the chamber already pays them, right?
Their contract is with the city, not with the chamber.
But they're also contracted with the chamber.
I don't believe so. I think that they were at one point, but they're not anymore.
what do we really get out of this?
We get their advocacy, I mean, they're a lobbyist firm, and so they do what lobbyist firms do. They advocate for us with the Pentagon, with the Office of Local Defense Communities Cooperation, and the Department of Defense and the Foreign Military Sales branch of the State Department. They work with all of those agencies to make sure that we are doing what we need to do and know what we need to do in order to support the Foreign Military Sales Project.
But what, I mean, what are we doing? What's our role in it? That's what I don't understand, what our role is.
Well, I mean, and some of the more specific things that they've helped us with in the last year is make applications for grants. And frankly, you know, there was a grant we applied for, the DSIP grant, Defense Communities Infrastructure Program grant, that we, before we had the Roosevelt Group on board with us, we made application for that grant. It's a grant that we feel that we should have gotten, but we did not. We were on our own with that particular one. We didn't have the advice of the Roosevelt Group, which I believe would have. I mean, they have people that have worked for the Office of Local Defense Communities, the OLDCC group. They have people that have worked for those agencies and have administered and awarded these grants that we could have had benefit from their input on our application for that particular one. And we intend to apply for that grant again and use their expertise when we make that grant application.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Real quick on that. We've gotten money out of that grant, those grants.
From different ones, yes. So that particular one we did not.
Right,
but since we've had the Roosevelt Group on board with us, we have gotten a military installation resiliency and grant, the MERG grant.
Total of how much?
That one was $600,000. And what that does is it gives us a infrastructure report to be able to use for other grant purposes, including this DSIP grant, where we can show where we've identified some deficiencies in our infrastructure that needs to be improved so that it can support the military base for a sustained period if we have infrastructure failures.
But the OLDCC grant that we got for the schools.
Yes.
That's through this group.
That's exactly right.
How much was that?
That is a $4.3 million.
So that's about $5 million, I guess.
4.3 plus the 600. Yes, sir.
Yep. Okay. All right.
Did
thank
we apply on behalf of the school system because they couldn't apply?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Director Kemp.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I think the thing from the DC trip that I was most interested in meeting the Roosevelt Group is the work that they're trying on the infrastructure and tying that in. And I'm hopeful that down the road we see some even more further grants pursued, utilizing that study and having them advocate on our behalf. Thank you.
Item F.
If I may, we did have one individual to speak on item 6B.
Okay.
Ken Lyon.
All right, probably already wondering, what's he going to throw this time? Okay. So, glad that we have this professional service consulting because that opens up the door for what they're actually pushing for. Of course, it's kind of, we'll point to like $600,000 in an award certificate versus $600,000 actually in the account. There's a lot of stuff on the budget that's like, it looks good on paper. Is that actually happening to be actionable, or is this like, you know what I mean? But to stick to the point, in my opinion, what we obviously need to do is pretty clear. The sunk cost, the only fallacy is still pouring that water down the drain. It sounds like we have assets sitting in a field that are obviously depreciating. We have amortized finance on top of that, but the thing is that's already off of where it's supposed to be because it's been sitting in a field rotting. What was it, festering rot? What was that the problem? Poisonous rot. The poisonous rot on the slide sitting into the field over there is actually a gap that you could have the consultants go look into on the consultancy of this, of if it's viable for us to actually sell that at a loss for how much we're actually losing money.
Me, sir, is this germane to item F?
Yes, it's actually a suggestion for the F. Oh, I'm sorry, I thought this was B. B, the consultancy of professional consultants.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and continue.
Yeah. So my suggestion is see if the consultants can basically do the math on where we're actually sitting on what's sitting in that field versus what's on paper. Because right now it's rotting in that field. And on paper, we have financed what we're supposed to be paying for because there's an expected return, which doesn't exist anywhere but on paper. and there's a loss that's happened because they didn't put it in the box they were supposed to, you can technically put that liability back on the group that didn't do their part of the subcontractor, because it's not supposed to be rotting in that field. It's supposed to be sitting in some boxes that they didn't deliver on. So there's an outside liability that you can actually technically throw our loss on them for trying to recover that, instead of just being like, oh, we got to lose this. But obviously, it's a sunk cost. It's a fallacy to keep going at this thing. Liquidate it and see what you can get. Because right now, it's literally rotting faster than the finances are saying it's worth. And you have to make up that difference. Otherwise, you're going to have people sharking there, hounding you soon.
Thank you.
You got it? So that's my suggestion. See if that'll work. Thank you.
That's it for 6B.
Item F.
Yeah, so this is my question. I asked you via email, Jeff, about this one. I think I almost question it every year, but there's something in the language of the county sales tax that denotes these funds have to go to the Fort Smith Museum of History, the SRCA, the Area Agency on Aging, and Project Compassion. Is that a true statement?
That is a true statement, yes, sir.
Okay, so we're not making that, we're not just choosing some nonprofits to give money to.
Right. One of the obligations that we've identified in our resolution or ordinance when we advocated for the adoption, the renewal of the countywide sales tax, was the fact that we would use certain percentages of those dollars for certain things. Most of them are public safety related, but we have, and I'm not going to get the percentage right necessarily, but I think it's 3% that we allocated directly to senior services from our share of the countywide sales tax, and a large part of those dollars, of that obligation, is met through these contracts.
And that is in the language that the voters voted on.
That is what the city said that we would spend those dollars on, and with the obligation that we made to the voters. That's not necessarily in the ballot title, what the voters voted for us to do. That's what we pledged to the voters that we would use those dollars for.
It's in the ordinance that started ballot time.
Yes.
Okay, okay.
If I may, we did have some other individuals to speak as well.
Okay, you may call them.
On item 6C, Chris Cadelli.
I just would like to mention with regard to internal audit, with all the systemic fraud that's been uncovered in Minnesota and many other states around this country, it's vital for me as a taxpayer that we know our internal audit team is protecting the Fort Smith taxpayer. I would just ask that the board do a good job keeping us informed on impending and completed audits, including, of course, the Parrot Island Waterpark audit. Thank you.
Next, we have Crystal Cadelli.
I just want to say that I'm happy to hear that we actually finally have an in-house auditor. My fear is that we are so behind at this point, taking so long to hire one, that it's going to be overwhelming. I see that I feel that the water department is a major concern and is in desperate need of an audit. We have a large percentage of water meters that either don't work or are not transmitting correctly. Parrot Island being an example of losing at least over $40,000 in revenue that could have gone to the city water department. How did it go over 12 months without anybody realizing, especially in the summer months, that the water department is only billing a water park $40 a month, while citizens are getting $900, $1,000 water bills? I think that I think 2 or 3 of you up here do your homework, look at the budget, know what's going on, and I appreciate it. Those that just vote yes, just put a rubber stamp on it, do better. We expect better, and we deserve better. Thank you so much.
Then for item 6F, Joey McCutcheon, as well as 6G. That's all.
Okay. Thank you.
There was
Then
also a
H.
question about H, right?
H, yeah.
Yes.
There's Andy here, I think his name was on the memo for this. So the software cost seems a little high to me. I'm wondering why the price isn't fixed if we're signing a multi-year agreement. Because just based on the limited knowledge I have with government SaaS contracts, 13.1% increase over the 3 years is on the high end. It's typically about 3% a year, but if we're signing a multi-year deal, I would hope that we'd get, fixed costs. This kind of locks us in so we can't rebid easily.
I mean, it's a bundled service. It's a combination of support team from their team, so it's some man hours from their standpoint, as well as cloud-based solutions. So it's kind of a combination of a lot of things. I could go back to him and talk to him about the 5% increase if you want me to, but I would say when I shopped this around, when I initially got this gravity solution, the base solution, and it is very, the price is very much competitive to what other people were calling me and trying to sell, because it does the budget, our budget book, it tracks does our lease accounting, it develops our debt disclosures as well as writes the annual financial report. It does a lot, the capital improvement plans. So there's a lot of there's a handful of products built into that bundle.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good software. I like the way the budget books are laid out. That's very helpful for me. But we're starting at $69,729.27, and then by 29 we're at $78,877. I don't know if there's a benefit in signing a 3-year agreement if the cost is going to escalate. Could you call them back and say, we'll do a 3-year agreement, but we want the price locked in?
Sure.
Okay. Did you have something to add?
I do think that 5% is pretty high. You could look at CPI, the CPI number, in terms of what that additional is, or cap it at 3%. I mean, I know it's usually pretty standard to have a percentage increase, but 5 is pretty high.
I think an escalation cap's typically around 3%.
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion to table that item.
Second.
So I have a motion to table. Okay, all right.
So we need to vote on it.
Yes, we have a motion and a second to table. Yes,
We
sir.
have a motion and a second on, that's item H.
Just to clarify, if there is no specific date, it would automatically come back to the next regular meeting.
Is that enough
okay?
time, Andy? Yes. Okay.
Okay. All right, please call the roll.
Directors Rigo,
Yes.
Good,
Yes.
Kemp,
Yes.
George Katsavas.
Yes.
Christina Katsavas.
Yes.
Settle.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Motion passes 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
I'd like to make a motion to table item A
Second.
till when can we get it on a study session? When?
We have a study session discussion. We can set it for a study session. We can table this pending study session discussion.
Table it pending a study session discussion. Okay.
Please call the roll.
Directors Good,
Yes.
Kemp,
Yes.
George Katsavas.
Yes.
Is that a yes?
Huh?
Christina Katsavas.
Yes.
No.
Settle.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Rigo.
No.
Motion passes 5 in favor and 2 opposed.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any other items before we ask for a motion to approve? Okay,
I'd make a motion to approve the remaining items on the consent agenda.
Second.
thank you. If there are no further discussion, please call the roll.
Directors Kemp,
Yes.
George Katsavas,
Yes, but no to B.
Christina Katsavas,
Yes, but no to B.
Settle,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Rego,
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Motion passes with 7 in favor and 0 opposed on all items with the exception, all items with the exception of 6B, which was 5 in favor and 2 opposed.
Okay, thank you very much. At this time, we'll go to the official forum. Just a couple of items. I had a chance to host approximately 50 attachés from, embassy attachés from around the world here in Fort Smith. They came to take a look at Ebbing Air Base to see where their men and women are going to be training. And they're very, very impressed with Fort Smith. Also, the first aircraft for Finland arrived today, and that raised the number of aircraft as part of the FMS, raised that number to 9 aircraft. And they say the remaining Finland aircraft will be coming rather quickly, so we're looking forward to that. This time, Director Rego, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. 2 things fairly quickly. One, it was kind of mentioned earlier that there's no businesses thriving downtown, and I think that the Bakery District, First National Bank, ProPac 906, Thai Curry, the Rib Room, 21 West End, Prima Italia, First Security Bank, Prohibition, Creative Kitchen, Soul Studios, the Harper Ellis Salon headquarters, to name just a few, would disagree with that assessment. And on a more somber note, I know I speak for my colleagues and everyone here in the city as we extend our condolences to our Congressman Steve Womack on the loss of his wife Terry earlier today. So we appreciate the work he does to represent our area, and I know that we keep him and his family in our thoughts and prayers as they deal with this family tragedy.
Okay, thank you for mentioning that. Director Good.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of items. First, I want to thank Andy Postrick for always coming and being so positive when you come to the podium. But I also want to thank you for your well-thought-out ideas and recommendations to the board. I think it's great that you share that with the board, but I think that we need to look at some of these ideas that you presented to city staff who are the professionals in those areas and see if they're very workable or at least workable. So thank you for what you do. Secondly, just want to give kudos to Mr. Meeker and Mr. Joyce and what was formerly the street department. It's now what department?
Public Works.
Public Works, thank you. I had a resident call me with a complaint, needing a light in his area in the alley on a corner, very dark place. He sees a lot of activity back there. So he personally requested from Mr. Meeker and Joyce a utility light on a Friday. It took 2 days for the city to work with OG&E, so I want to thank OG&E also, because it took OG&E 6 days to get out there. So a total of 8 days, the citizen made a request and got a light in his alleyway for his own safety for the area. Thirdly, and probably the most important, and this is my personal statement to the police department and fire departments. They're not empty words. I think my actions speak for, yep, thank you, for my intent, just like they have since I first ran for the board. And at every opportunity, as well as George Katsavas and Director Kevin Settle have talked about our support for these departments. But at our earliest convenience, we will continue to review our sales tax revenues. At the board's request, I would like to, once we see that our sales tax revenues are going up, let's review the request by these departments and see what we can do to help them out.
Okay, thank you. Director Kemp.
Thank you, Mayor. My prayers and condolences to Congressman Womack in the loss of his wife. Can't even begin to imagine what you're experiencing, and my prayers are for you. To the spirit of Mr. McCutcheon's comments, I do actually would like to request that the board be emailed and kind of an update and a timeline. I mean, the engineer consultant for the consent decree is a budgeted line item. And I remember we talked about this and that we would use it as an ad-need basis. But yet I don't think we've heard who would be such said firm, knowing that they're on basis, and then that way we can make sure that they are being asked. So that especially like if there's an overage on a project or something coming up to the board to review from bids that were sought, those would be good hours expensed, in my opinion, to an engineer firm that is independent to take a cursory look and dive into these things. So I would like to get an update on that.
I would comment to that we do have an update. It's a discussion on next week's study session is to review the program management project for the consent decree. A discussion is scheduled for next week.
Thank you.
And that's something that'll be competitively bid, or does Director Kemp have a buddy he wants to call for that?
Professional services are not solicited by competitive bidding.
Come on, Christina.
Over 75,000?
No. Not
Professional services are not.
competitively bid. They're based on qualification.
That's a state law.
I mean, the 75,000 threshold, in terms of who can sign and authorize the contract, but the selection and review of that process is a qualifications-based professional services procurement process outlined in state law in the city code. It's not competitively based.
Okay.
Director George Gustavus.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion, Mayor.
Okay.
Given the serious, I'll read it again. Given the serious questions about procurement, authorization, and use of general fund dollars, I believe this board has an obligation to seek an independent review by the Arkansas Attorney General to protect the city and taxpayers. That's it.
So you're making a motion to direct this to the Attorney General's office?
Yes.
Okay, I will second that.
Okay. Right. Okay. Director Christine.
So we don't need to
Cassatt.
vote on that?
No. No. I don't think so.
So
Do
what's
we?
the process then?
Well, I'm just thinking through that. I think that that particular motion needs to go through a discussion of sorts from the board for a study session of something to where they can take a specific direction and give the staff direction.
Let's ask Colby. Colby, how would this be facilitated? Transfer of review by the Attorney General?
Yeah, I think there needs to be some guidance of what is going to be asked of the Attorney General. What does that look like? I mean, either staff or my firm can prepare some letter, but, what are we asking the Attorney General to do? What documents, what information is going to be provided to the Attorney General's office?
I want to know who and when knew about the installation of the slides, because that was hidden from us. There's no question about it. And to me, that's fraud. This is taxpayer money. This isn't like two private businesses going at it. And I think that warrants an investigation.
Well, so as far as the inquiry goes, Mr. Dingman, we can prepare that inquiry to the Attorney General's office, and I presume if they had further need for information or documents, they would reach back out. So, I mean, I'm a little bit struggling with how that's going to work out because I'm not familiar with it personally. But, other than the initial contact and giving them the parameters of what the investigation or review is being requested, it would probably be at the, then the disposal or the position of the Attorney General's office of what else they might need and who might need to be available to answer questions for their investigators.
They have subpoena power. They can subpoena phone records, correct?
The AG's office does have subpoena power, yes.
They can emails?
They have subpoena power, yes.
They can question people under oath?
I believe that's correct. They have very broad, the Attorney General's office.
I just want the truth. Would the people want the truth? That's all I'm asking. That's it. Thank you.
Okay. So, Madam Clerk, point of inquiry. So, what just happened? Because one director read something off of a piece of paper and another one seconded it. It seems like the attorney's unclear on next steps. Is there a vote we need to take? Surely it doesn't take one director saying something and another director seconding it, and something automatically goes up to the Attorney General. I mean, surely that can't be the process.
No. What I would recommend is that we do go ahead and vote, or you can amend it to discuss it at a study session. Because if you are just requesting that, it is, and Colby, you may need to correct me, but if there is a clear directive, if you would like it to have it voted on, then we can certainly do that.
If I might, my concern on a vote is at the beginning of the meeting, the mayor asked if any items needed to be added to tonight's agenda in anticipating a vote of such item, and none was presented. So I don't think that we can do that.
Let's go to study session, George.
Well, sometimes things come up during the meeting and you can request based on what has come up. It doesn't have to be presented as a new item. It's relevant to the item that was already on the agenda.
Well, that's so you're now dealing with a procedural question. Technically, haven't memorized Robert's Rules of Order, but it's probably correct as to the correct handling under Robert's Rules of Order. You probably shouldn't vote on this now. Now, that's a very hyper-technical procedural question.
Colby, could I just call up the Attorney General's office and request this, or does it need to come from the board as a whole?
There's probably nothing stopping you or any citizen from calling the Attorney General's office and inquiring and stating whatever you want to state. Now, as far as what that office would require in terms of a formal request from a city, maybe they would want an ordinance or resolution, but presumably investigations start all the time by, law enforcement agencies such as the Attorney General's office with standards less than some formal request. I mean, so the answer to your question is yes, you can call the Attorney General's office and inquire and question what you want to question.
Because this came up with the Animal Haven. I called the Attorney General's office. We had an audit report that, in my view, showed theft of public funds. And I sent it to them, and it worked its way around a little bit, and then it got back to some of the officials, some of the state-level officials, and they kind of put a stop to it, because they said all that's going to happen is it's going to turn Fort Smith into a laughingstock, and you're never going to get your money back. And I said, well, what I want is for us to quit throwing our money away there. And so I'm wondering...
So was there no official report issued in that instance? I mean, did the
No, it just died, because I was told if you can get your entire board to vote on it and send something from the board down there, they'll move on it. And I couldn't get that, so, nothing happened with it. It just died. So I'm wondering, if I make a phone call, is it the same situation all over again?
I don't know, because I don't have that personal experience, but in light of that, maybe the best procedure then is for the board to pass a resolution specifically directing what it wants with regards to this topic from the Attorney General's office.
Okay. So do we need to send it to a study session to do that?
I would think based on a motion and a second, we can have that discussion, which could then frame the parameters of what we might present as a resolution for adoption the following week.
Jeff, let me ask a question. Where are all the contracts and agreements with the slide company and AMA, all the legal stuff for the purchase of the slides?
We have them.
Huh?
We have them, and the board has seen them and approved contracts.
You have them from the time we started getting to buying the slides, from the get-go?
Yes. I've shared those with the board recently, but yes.
And who negotiated, you or Carl?
It was not me.
Excuse me?
It was not me.
I can't imagine somebody not thinking that you buy something that didn't include installation. I just can't. I mean, to me, it's like somebody buys a house, realtor says, congratulations, you ought to be happy. Then a week later, well, you got to buy the yard now.
Well, it was in the documentation that it included installation. We have that. We have that.
It was just way under. Installation was included, it was
Yeah,
just
it
way
was
less.
way under a quarter. Heck, yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm done.
Okay, thank you.
So could I please get some clarity on the motion? Is this to place it on a
Study
study
session?
session, or is this to place a resolution on a future meeting?
For study session or for a resolution on a future meeting?
I want a study session. With legal counsel present.
Do we need anything else on that, Madam Clerk?
No, it only takes two.
Okay, thank you. Director Christina Savage, you recognized.
Nothing for me tonight, thank you.
Director Settle.
Thank you. 2 items. I know Matt and his team has already started to pre-treat the roads with that impending ice storm and snowstorm this weekend. So I want to thank that crew, and obviously to the public, please keep an eye on the weather. The other thing is, heard it once and heard it twice. Jeff, as we progress into 2026, when we get our sales tax report, I'd like a way that we can see what rebates are taken out of the sales tax report. I also like it, maybe Andy could put something together. How is rebates taken out? You know, you think about rebates are when we do a economic development project and sales, in lieu of sales tax rebates, we bring in jobs, and that's one of our economic development tools. But how are those taken out? Is it through a sales tax? Is it through the property tax? How is it taken out? Which sales tax is it taken out of? Is it coming out of the street funds? Is it coming out of the sewer funds? Where's that sales tax coming out of when we get our county tax? Where's it coming out of? And how do we put that on a report so we can say, hey, sales tax went up, but somebody took a, $300,000 rebate because they put some equipment in and that's the rebate. So how do we get that? That'd give us better optics on our sales tax going up or is it flat, but having that rebate and understanding how that rebate is calculated and what fund does it come out would be a big help.
Understood, and I think that we can do some more work on the front end as the report gets released to identify what those rebates are, but I think, the information we get from DFNA that Andy looks at when we get those sales tax reports are divided by category, not necessarily by entity or business, and so we may be able to get some refinement to it, but not. Yeah,
but when they take it out, which we get it back, if there's a way to do it, but I'd like to, even if it takes a little bit longer to get the initial tax report out, I'd like to have those rebates in a separate line item or something that says, hey, we took out this much rebate, so we can kind of see what that would be. That's all.
Understood.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director Neil Martin.
Nothing for me, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Dingman. Okay, thank you. This time we're going to go into convene an executive session to consider appointments to the Audit Advisory Committee, the Community Development Advisory Committee, the Historic District Commission, the Plumbing Advisory Board, and the Sebastian County Regional Solid Waste Management Board. we're going to reconvene, and the following appointments have been made. On the Audit Advisory Committee, Renee Pogue. To the Community Development Advisory Committee, Kimberly Rucker. To the Historic District Commission, Jacques Saloni. To the Plumbing Advisory Board, Aaron Borengasser. And to the Sebastian County Regional Solid Waste Management Board, Casey Wilson. Need a motion, please? So moved. Okay, all in favor? Aye. All right, thank you. If there's nothing else to come before the board, need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you. All in favor?